Hello and welcome back to Breaking Moves, the weekly chess series where we go over everything in the world of chess that happened this week. Today we're going to go over a couple of different stories, a couple of different competitions. The Sinquefield Cup has just finished. Lots of different things going on right now, a couple of fun things as well. So let's get right into it. Our first story this week is to do with the Sinquefield Cup, one of the biggest chess events on the calendar. Wesley So has won his second Sinquefield Cup in Blitz tiebreaks, which is very, very impressive. It was actually even until the final round with Fabiano Caruana, Wesley So, and Praggnanandhaa Rameshbabu all on equal points. But in the final round, it turned out that Wesley So was able to win their final game, whereas Fabiano and Praggnanandhaa were only able to draw. In their final game with against Nordabek Abdusattorov, we got into this position here. And basically, Wesley had spent the entire game playing very, very solidly. We can see here that all of White's pawns here are on light squares on this side of the board. So it's going to be quite difficult for Black to try and break through with this dark square bishop here. The knight protects these two pawns here. And although Black has got a passport, it's going to be very difficult for them to do anything with it. So White now has to try and decide on a plan. Obviously, White's pawns are kind of set up for pushing on this king side of the board. So White decides, quite ingeniously I think, to play the move king to f2. And you might be saying, what is the point of king to f2? Surely that's just kind of a wasted move. But the key thing is that Black doesn't really have much of a plan of where to go here. You can see here, White is just going to bring their king all the way over to the other side of the board, and Black's positions here has not really improved from their original setup. So once White has moved their king over to this side, protecting these two pawns, using this pawn here on b4 as almost an umbrella pawn here, they are then going to be able to push the pawns on this side of the board. We see h4 coming on the board, and we're just going to simply push all the pieces of this board. We've now doubled on this file here, ready to just push straight ahead here, and this is just going to be quite an easy winning endgame for White now. You can see that now Black has tried to commit to playing the move g4. White has been able to move their rooks over again. And this is just going to be simply a very easily winning endgame because of how weak the pawns are and how weak the king is here. So that was a really good tournament from Wesley So there. It's really good to see them back at their best because I think they've not been playing the best recently. But it's great to see them playing good chess again. The Women's Speed Chess Championship has also been on this week, with the winner being Zhu Wenjun against Hu Yifan, someone that they've played quite a few times in the past with. What we saw in this game is that basically Zhu Wenjun was prolific in the 5+1 time format, and they kind of evened out in the middling time formats and the quicker time formats as well. What we also saw was that when Zhu Wenjun was dominating early on, we kind of all expected Zhu Wenjun to kind of just walk away with it. But Hu Yifan managed to bring it back by trying to win later games. One of these games that was really interesting was this game here. And in this position here, Black has just moved their king over from a check on d5. And this looks like a relatively equal position, except for the fact there is a pawn on c4. And if White is able to get them to trade their bishop off, it's going to be quite an easy winning endgame for them. But it's quite difficult to figure out how exactly they are going to do this. And the way they end up doing it is they're playing this special move b4. And b4 is a really, really interesting move here, because the point is that it looks like you are just going to be able to win this pawn here. But unfortunately, the knight coming into c6 will fork the king and the bishop here. So this move is not possible. So instead, they decide to capture this knight here, which also looks like a free piece. But unfortunately, Black's king is unable to stay defending the black bishop if there is a check, which there is on f4. The black king is forced to move away, and the white king is able to recapture on d4. And then after we continue this game onwards, White will just have a passed pawn on the c file. But this was kind of part of the game where we saw Hu Yifan manage to try and make this kind of comeback. But unfortunately, in the end, it ended up being Zhu Wenjun that was able to prevail. So it was a really, really good tournament there. And I think it was really interesting to kind of watch along and see what the commentators had to say. I think it was Judith Polgard that was doing the analysis on some of this, and it was really, really interesting. I'd highly recommend, if you get the chance, going to have a look at this clip here on Chess24. Also this week, we saw Yosha Iglesias, I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce his name, I do apologise, triumphing in France, winning the French Women's Championship. And they are only the second transgender woman to have won a national title, which is incredibly impressive from them, and I'm really happy that they managed to do it. It really shows how inspirational trans people can be, as a trans person myself. It really is really nice to kind of see trans people managing to win tournaments like this. But yeah, she did an incredible job. Her main interesting game was this game here. We can see over here. Brilliant move here that was played was knight captures on e4, leaving the queen to hang on this f5 square here. And basically, after a couple of exchanges, we're going to see white being having 2 rooks and a bishop to the rook and queen. And over the course of this game, they managed to go on and win it. It's quite a long game, this is, but they managed to go ahead and win this game from this position. They've played incredibly well in this tournament, and as you can see down here, she said, sorry, Anne-Marie Meyer, who is, they won the German Women's Chess Championship, but I'm not sure on who they are particularly. They said, I wish public dialogue about trans women in chess and in sports would be conducted without fear, and especially without hatred, with respect from all sides, which is something that I very much agree with and respect her for saying. But yes, this is really interesting here, and I think she did an incredible job, so well done to her. Also, big news this week. Kirill Shevchenko has been officially banned from FIDE events for the next 2, maybe 3 years. This is really big news. He is the highest rated Grandmaster to have ever been banned from top level play, and also the highest rated one to be have their Grandmaster title revoked, which is incredible. We can see here the sanctions: 3-year worldwide ban from all FIDE events. 1 year the ban will be suspended, contingent on absence of further misconduct, which how are they going to do if they're not playing in any events? And the Grandmaster title, as I said, is revoked from the date of this publishing the decision. Now, I think that this decision is a little bit light. I think that having a 2-year ban from top level chess when they are one of the, I think, top 100 best players in the world is a bit light. If we're trying to do something about cheating and trying to eliminate it from chess, setting an example is probably the least that you can do in this kind of situation. And I don't think that this really goes too harshly on them. I don't think at the same time that people like Vladimir Kramnik are going to be correct on this and say that this is a problem on a wider scale. But I think that to really eliminate the problems like this, we need to make sure that we are setting an example of these people and making sure that they are not returning to chess anytime soon, instead of just giving a 2-year ban. This is a really interesting story, and I hope that you'd go and read some more on it, 'cause it is a really interesting case. And yeah, go read ahead. All these stories are going to be down in the description, so and please read the original articles. And finally, Gotham Chess, also known as Levy Rosman International Master, will be taking on the world in a very similar vein to how other Grandmasters have done it in the past, like Magnus Carlsen, which is the most recent one. Vishy Anand did it, and Gary Kasparov is probably the most famous one that did it as well. It's going to be held on chess.com. All you have to do is press this lovely little button, and therefore you will get to vote on the moves that you get to play against Gotham Chess. It's going to be a really interesting game, and see how it happens. I'm sure that Gotham will do a video on their own channel going over the game after it's finished. But yeah, I'm very excited to see how this goes. Obviously, we all thought that Magnus Carlsen would win in their game against World, but it ended up being held to a draw. But we want to see how Gotham is going to do in this. Obviously, I think one of the main problems we're going to have, though, is that it's going to be a very easy one to kind of cheat on the votes with. So you're going to be people are going to be able to look at engines and vote if they want to. Which obviously I don't encourage, obviously. I know that my encouragement doesn't really mean anything. But it's clear that's the sort of thing that will happen. We just got to see how Gotham manages to deal with this, and see if he can manage to either hold to a draw or manage to win, which will be very impressive if he does manage to do. But that is the end of breaking moves for this week. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below on stories you would like to see next week. Anything else that you want to say, leave in the comments as well. I will read through all of them. But thank you very much for watching, and I will see you later. Goodbye.